Hey, it's been a while, but I'm back. Been dealing with a few health issues, including diverticulitis. Don't wish that on anybody. But one thing to help with diverticulitis is to help get, you know, that good gut bacteria under control. So, one thing that's good to do is add milk kefir to your diet. But this 1 liter jug costs about $5. That adds up. So I started to look at how I can make it myself, much cheaper. I was able to find locally some what's called milk kefir grains. Now there's also water kefir, which I have some ready to be started over there. That'll be another video. But water kefir grains, they're not an actual grain like wheat or quinoa or any barley or something like that. They're more like a kombucha SCOBY. So in here, got clean hands, are my milk kefir grains. They're like this gelatinous, just blobs. So, and if you smell it, it smells kind of like sour cream. So, this is a batch that I've started to strain. I don't know if you can see the separation. So you've got your curds, your kefir, and your whey. I end up, in this application, mixing it all together, because the whey is still good for you too. So I end up mixing it together and then straining it off. So that way we catch all these big kefir grains, but sometimes you get even smaller kefir grains start to grow. And we want to keep those. And Tandy wants to go outside. She can wait a moment. We want to keep those and just strain them off. I've just got a regular metal sieve that fits over this cup. Now you'll hear people say, "Oh, you shouldn't use metal with," and I'm using a metal spoon. Shouldn't use metal spoon with your ferments, whether it be like sauerkraut, kombucha, kimchi, whatever. That is taken from days gone by where, it was more raw metals, iron, steel, aluminum, whatever, tools, not the, nice food grade stainless steel, sterling silver, whatever that we have these days. So if it is food grade metal, I wouldn't go using a sieve you find at a hardware store meant for construction purposes, even most crafting purposes. I don't know if I trust them. But if it's in the dollars, I'm pretty sure I got this from the dollar store. And I basically just keep, if you got it for food grade, it's fine to use. If you want to use nylon and silicone, you do you. Whoops. Another grain fell out there. But yeah, this will kind of, it's very liquidy now. This will thicken up a little bit in the fridge. If I wanted, I could let this jar sit for another day and it would separate even more into kind of yogurt and whey. And then I could have kefir yogurt. And then if I wanted to take it even further, Oops, I need a new cup. If I want to take it even further, let it sit for a third day and really solidify up a bit more. So this is all at room temperature, just out on the counter for a third day, and then strain it through cheesecloth. Then I'd have like a kefir cheese, like a cream cheese almost, or ricotta style. So there's lots you can do with kefir, milk kefir. I could also, what I do a lot is I add some fruit concentrates, and I reuse this jug. So I add about a tablespoon of that fruit concentrate, add it to this jug. If I leave it out for another half day or a day, it starts to get a little fizzy, so it's almost like a malt drink. And that's called a second ferment. Or I can leave it, put it right in the fridge, and it stays pretty much the same way it was. And it doesn't ferment further. It can ferment a little, slightly bit, but hardly any. And it stays kind of like a fruit yogurt drink, kind of like those Yops. So what I'm going to do is give this a rinse. And I'm just going to reuse it. It doesn't have to be perfect. I am going to take my grains, my gushy little brainy kefir grains, and put them back into my jar. Now, some people say it's better to use raw milk or half and half, cream, homogenize. Use what you got. What I have today is just some Reed's Dairy 2%, and I'm going to cover these. That's all that's left in that. It's good enough. If I want to say I have too much and I want to take a break, I would put just enough in the jar to cover the grains and put it in the fridge. And it's good there. I've heard people say a week, 2 weeks. I've heard people say 6 months. Who knows? If you know you're going to be gone a few months, then maybe put a little bit, just enough to cover, in like a Ziploc bag or a freezer safe container, and put it in the freezer. Might take a few days to activate when you're done, when you want to go again. Yeah. That's okay. I got these lids off Amazon. I like them and I don't. They're supposed to, they go on your jar. And when you're done a batch, you're supposed to be able to strain right off from the jar. But I find these holes, instead of using a sieve, but I find these holes get super clogged easy, and it's more of a pain. However, it's good for the fermenting process because it's got this secondary lid, which you can have it this way and it adds more airflow, or the other way, and it's not a watertight seal, so any gases or anything that it needs to off-gas as it's fermenting can go, but nothing's going to get in it. You're not going to get fruit flies or anything. So, and I put it back in my little fermentation corner. And now I have 1 and about a quarter of these glasses full. Brand new kefir. Ready to drink as is. Or add to another container, add some flavorings, and put on a second ferment. So this was my second ferment here that I've had in the fridge. This jug's almost gone, and it's blueberry. Chef's kiss. So another thing to think about when you're starting into your kefir, start with a little bit. If you just go, say, chug this whole glass because, you know, you're a milk drinker, you love drinking milk, and you can chug a whole glass, wouldn't recommend it. Your body's got to get used to new things. So even if it's a really good thing, too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. So start off with, you know, a couple tablespoons, an ounce, and then work up to a bit more. I end up having, like, you know, about the amount that was started in this glass. I try to at every meal or before bed. So anywhere between 2 and 4 times a day. If you're on antibiotics, make sure you wait at least 2 hours after drinking some of this to have your antibiotics, or have your antibiotics and wait 2 hours to have your kefir. We're looking for the beneficial bacteria and probiotics in this. If you take it at the same time as your antibiotics will kill it, and it's just more expensive milk. So make sure you keep that in mind. If you're on antibiotics, you need some time in between. But if you're on antibiotics, you should be adding fermented things to your body, given enough time between to reintroduce good bacteria into your gut, because those antibiotics are just going to wipe you clean. So, happy drinking. Because why not?